He's the ponytailed powerhouse with a black belt in Aikido, a whispery voice that somehow scares bad guys, and a way of walking that says, "I'm too cool to run." That's right. Today we're diving into the world of Steven Seagal, where explosions are big, bad guys fly across rooms from a wrist flick, and justice is served with a side of squinting. So get ready to chop, kick, and dramatically stare your way through our countdown of the 10 best Steven Seagal movies of all time, ranked with honor, intensity, and just a sprinkle of slow-motion roundhouse energy. 10. Today You Die, 2005. Steven Seagal is mostly known for playing the noble and deadly heroes of his movies who take on the bad guys and share their own brand of justice. Today You Die stands out a bit for being one of the rare movies in which Seagal is on the other side of the law. The movie friends him playing a Robin Hood-esque thief named Harlan Banks, who pulls off heists so that he can help other people. However, when he decides to go straight, he is framed for a crime he didn't commit. As Seagal got deeper into his direct-to-video career, there was a sense that he started making less of an effort in both his performances and fight scenes. However, Today You Die does feature some great moments from the action star, including a memorable fight sequence that rivals some of the work he did in his prime. 9. Belly of the Beast, 2003. Years before Taken launched Liam Neeson's action movie career, Belly of the Beast offered a very similar story with Steven Seagal in the lead. Seagal plays a former CIA operative who is now a widowed father of a young adult girl. When she is on a hiking trip in Thailand, she and her friend are kidnapped and held for ransom. Having previously served in missions in the country, Seagal's Jake Hopper decides he has the best chance of getting her back safely. The movie is nowhere near as entertaining as Neeson's take on the vengeful father going after his kidnapped daughter, and the lower-budget approach is also a stark contrast to the theatrical movies Seagal had previously been making. However, there are a lot of different fight scenes that allow Seagal to do his thing with shootouts, kung fu duels, and even sword fights. 8. Above the Law, 1988. Above the Law is a 1988 action film starring Steven Seagal as Nico Toscani, a former CIA operative turned Chicago cop. The plot follows Toscani as he uncovers a government conspiracy involving illegal arms deals and drug trafficking. Directed by Andrew Davis, the film showcases Toscani's martial arts skills and uncompromising approach to justice, providing a gripping narrative of law enforcement and political intrigue. Not only is Above the Law the movie that introduced the world to Steven Seagal, but it was also written by him too, something that wouldn't happen again for 17 years. Rumors have it that he was asked to star in the movie by a former Aikido student who believed he could make anyone a movie star, and he was right in this case. 7. The Glimmer Man, 1996. The Glimmer Man is a 1996 action thriller directed by John Gray, featuring Steven Seagal as Jack Cole, a former covert operative turned detective. Paired with partner Jim Campbell, played by Keenen Ivory Wayans, the duo investigates a series of gruesome murders attributed to a serial killer. Their contrasting styles lead to tension as they navigate the perilous investigation. While it sounds like a comic book film, The Glimmer Man is just another Steven Seagal movie where he plays a cop. In this one, he is a former government agent known as the Glimmer Man, who now works as a detective for the LAPD. Keenen Ivory Wayans plays his partner, a no-nonsense cop, and they set out to try to stop a serial killer known as the Family Man because he kills entire families. When the latest victim is the Glimmer Man's ex-wife, things get personal. 6. Half Past Dead, 2002. Half Past Dead stars Steven Seagal as an undercover FBI agent infiltrating a high-tech fortress prison to thwart a criminal mastermind, Morris Chestnut, who aims to discover a death row inmate's hidden fortune. Directed by Don Michael Paul, the 2002 action film features Ja Rule as Seagal's criminal ally turned partner, blending intense action sequences with a heist narrative, set against the backdrop of an impenetrable penitentiary. Whether a coincidence or not, there was a point of time in Seagal's career where he found himself co-starring in a number of action movies opposite famous rappers. It's not where many expected his career to go, but it led to some interesting films. In Half Past Dead, Steven Seagal plays a man who was arrested and imprisoned because a guy he was with, Ja Rule, started shooting at FBI agents. He is sent to a super jail on Alcatraz and ends up in a fight for his life when the jail is attacked by people looking for gold. 5. Exit Wounds, 2001. Exit Wounds is a 2001 action film directed by Andrei Bartkowiak. Starring Steven Seagal as a maverick cop, Orrin Boyd, the film follows his struggles to expose corruption within the police force. The ensemble cast includes DMX, Isaiah Washington, and Jill Hennessy, who together navigate a landscape of crime and betrayal. Exit Wounds blends intense action sequences with a narrative centered around law enforcement's internal challenges. In Exit Wounds, Steven Seagal is a cop who doesn't just bend the rules to stop the bad guys. He shatters them and then finds new ones to break just for fun. He doesn't just go around busting up bad guys, but he also has a reason not to trust his fellow police officers. When he learns there is a giant conspiracy behind an assassination attempt, he partners up with a gangster, rap star DMX, to solve the mystery, take out the bad guys, and save the day. 4. Out for Justice, 1991. Those fans who enjoy seeing Steven Seagal star as a ruthless killing machine will find a lot to like with this entry in his filmography. In Out for Justice, Steven Seagal is a police officer named Gino Felino whose partner was gunned down in the streets, while his family watched, by a bad guy played by William Forsythe. As a result, Gino sets out to hunt this man down and get revenge while taking out all the people foolish enough to get in his way. Another aspect that often separated Seagal's movies from others in the action genre was how violent they were. These movies could be incredibly bloody, and Out for Justice features some of Seagal's most brutal kills, including a particularly memorable fight scene in a pool hall, which is often regarded as one of the best of his career. 3. Hard to Kill, 1990. Hard to Kill is a 1990 action film starring Steven Seagal as Mason Storm, a police officer who survives an assassination attempt and awakens from a coma after 7 years. Dedicated to exposing the corrupt politicians responsible for his plight, Storm embarks on a relentless quest for justice, aided by Nurse Andy Stewart, played by Kelly LeBrock. Bruce Malmuth directed the film, which features a blend of intense action sequences and personal vendettas. In Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal is a police detective named Mason Storm who gets evidence against a mafia meeting. Sadly, there are corrupt cops on his team, and he ends up attacked by the bad guys, who shoot him and kill his wife. He ends up living, but is in a coma for 7 years. When he comes out of the coma, a nurse, Kelly LeBrock, helps him escape when the hit squad returns to finish the job, and he sets out on his mission of revenge. As is evident from the premise, Seagal once again leans into the premise of the wronged hero who sets out on a relentless quest to bring the bad guys to justice. 2. Marked for Death, 1990. Marked for Death is an action film directed by Dwight H. Little and stars Steven Seagal as John Hatcher, a DEA agent who retires and returns to his hometown. There, he confronts a dangerous Jamaican drug cartel led by the ruthless Screwface. The film explores themes of vigilantism and justice as Hatcher is drawn back into a world of violence to protect his community and loved ones. Marked for Death sees Steven Seagal portraying a cop named John Hatcher who retires after a mission in Mexico goes bad, and his partner is killed. However, when he returns to his hometown to settle down, he discovers it is the center of a gang war. While he wants nothing to do with it, after his niece is shot, he decides that he is going to clean up the streets himself. The movie delivers exactly what Seagal fans hope for with nonstop action. With shootouts, car chases, brutal hand-to-hand fight scenes, great one-liners, and an amazing villain. The final fight is considered by many to be the best in any Seagal movie. The plot is similar to Walking Tall, but this is pure action and kicked off the actor's successful decade of the 90s with a solid hit. 1. Under Siege, 1992. Under Siege is an action thriller film starring Steven Seagal as Casey Ryback, a former Navy SEAL and cook on the USS Missouri, who must stop a group of terrorists led by William Stranix, played by Tommy Lee Jones, who have taken control of the ship. Under Siege is Steven Seagal's most successful action movie, as well as his most memorable. He stars in the movie as Navy SEAL Casey Ryback, who has been demoted to a cook on a ship that is taken over by terrorists, led by Tommy Lee Jones. With the rest of the soldiers taken prisoner, Ryback becomes the only one capable of stopping the villains. The movie has a good mix of crazy fight scenes, brutal kills, and humor, some of which are thanks to Seagal's interactions with a female sidekick in Erica Eleniak. Seagal does what he does best as an action star, but the movie is elevated by its villains with Tommy Lee Jones and Gary Busey battling on who steals the most scenes. It is a movie that helped establish the actor as a major mainstream action star who could compete with the genre's best in the 1990s. And there you have it. From Navy SEAL chefs to spiritual warrior cops with zero time for nonsense, Steven Seagal has kicked, chopped, and wrist-locked his way through a mountain of bad guys and into action movie history. Which Seagal flick is your favorite? Did we miss a hidden gem where he saves the day without ever raising his voice? Drop a comment and let's chat. Before you fade into the shadows like a true action hero, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more high-kickin' movie rankings, and hit that notification bell like Seagal hits henchmen, without mercy. Alright, I'm off to go meditate. Until next time, stay hard to kill, my friends.